Good morning, everyone. We are now here at Coca Cola. I'm here to talk to Mr. Mirko Glisic, who is the Associate Director for Key Accounts at Coca Cola Enterprises here in Belgium. Mirko has a very interesting background, and I'm going to ask him a little bit more to explain what he does here at Coca Cola and how we got here. Mirko, thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
With a great pleasure, Deva.
It was very interesting when I heard about your interesting career choices and your profile. Would you care to explain to our audience how you ended up here in Coca Cola and in the marketing department, especially in sales?
Thank you, Deva. So to answer your question, in fact, I started my career at JP Morgan. So I have a career to be started in finance department. 2 years at JP Morgan, and then 2 years also within a supplier company, also Danone, where I also started in the company doing finance. So it was very interesting also to have the financial aspects, to have to include also in the reflection about the financial and the profitable reflection, also to do business with customers. So this was also very important, and also when I decided to make the step to the sales department, it was also very important for me to continue to have this financial reflection about how to do business with customers, to include also the payment terms, the payment negotiations, also all the financial aspects that you can have with the customers. And after I made a career with 10 years at Danone, and now I'm working since 2 years at Coca Cola. Very happy also to manage first the out-of-home team, the key accounts managers for the out-of-home team, and now since 1 year managing the key account managers for the retail market.
Okay. Very, very interesting that you actually moved from finance into marketing and sales.
Yeah.
Now that raises a very important question. So when you move from finance into key account management, and you've been in this for quite some time, in your opinion, what are the key success factors for a good key account manager?
I think first that the key account manager within an organization like Coca-Cola Enterprises is at the center of the organization. This means that you have to lead all the projects that are ongoing with our customers to make profitable growth with our customers. So this means that we are organized also in customer teams, and the key account manager has to lead these customer teams, including supply chain, including field sales, category management, shopper marketing, but also finance, for example. So all these aspects are important in the relationship that we have with our customers to develop growth with them.
Wow. So essentially what you're saying is that a key account manager could almost be like a mini CEO
of
in
course,
an organization.
For his customers,
Yeah.
he has to know all these aspects.
Yeah.
And that's why also from my side and from my career, as you were asking the question, it is important also to have the financial also aspects that are included in the collaboration with the customers. This is one important point. It's not the only, because we also have category management, shopper marketing, and the other aspects that I already mentioned. And that's why, according to me, the profile of a key account manager is a quite complete profile that we are looking for.
Yeah.
And also within the organization of Coca-Cola, we are looking this type of profiles who are able to combine analytics skills together with creativity, which is quite dual, let's say, in terms of profile. But we have to be able to analyze figures, analyze how the category is evolving in the market, but also to find creative solutions to make growth and to have good action plans with our customers.
Wow. So is that what you look for when you look at young students, where you see them as future key account managers?
Obviously, we are looking for some very important skills and sorry, complete skills. We know also that within Coca-Cola, not everybody has all the skills within starting from the first day. So we have obviously also give the opportunity to everybody to develop skills with trainings, with coachings, with learning by doing. So different ways of develop themselves. But at the end of the day, what makes a good key account manager for me is someone who combines different skills, analytics, creativity, but also entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship is something that is very important because you have to translate the strategy also in actions, concrete actions, and to be very pragmatic in what you are doing concretely with your customers. This is one thing, but you have also to be able to have a good strategic vision.
Yeah.
And this is again this duality: strategic vision with anticipate how the future will be, together with entrepreneurship and pragmatic to translate strategy into actions.
So essentially a leader who can not just have visions but can also implement them as well.
Of course.
Indeed.
This is indeed the objective, is to make business with our customers. It's not good only to have good ideas, but you have to translate it in growth, in profitable growth, including all the aspects of the collaboration with the customer.
Excellent. You were now talking very interesting things about how a key account manager needs to have vision and be able to entrepreneurial and execute it with a pragmatic view. In your opinion, how important is communication skills important for a key account manager?
Communication for me is key for a key account management. It's one very important skill, not only externally with our customer, but also internally. It's good to have great ideas, but it's even more important to be able to convince internal people to follow this idea and to implement also together with you. Let's take an example. For if you are a key account manager of one important customer and you want to introduce coolers to have an impulse buying act next to the checkout zone. This is agreed with the customer, it's very good, but you have to be sure also that field sales, for example, will be able to implement this in all these customers that you have agreed centrally. So this means that you have to convince also them that there is a potential to have a volume uplift, a growth, to realize a growth with these customers. And the field sales, they don't manage only one customer, they manage 10, 20 customers with all different priorities. So how do you make sure that the priority that you have set up and agreed with your customers in a contract, for example, is also implemented by your field sales within these 30 priorities or 40 priorities that they have in their daily life and their daily operational job. So this is very important to convince with enthusiasm, to have a big influence also within the company, and to make sure that your ideas are also agreed and implemented also with all the departments.
So essentially, of course, you gave us an example of field sales. So for those of you who are not aware, field sales are people who salespeople who actually visit the customers and the customer stores on a daily basis, whereas key accounts talk to central level purchasing, and of course they need both if you're dealing with a complex customer like a Carrefour or a Deleuze centrally. No, it's very interesting because you talked about the ability to convince your field sales, but I'm sure you have other examples as well about how you have to convince every other department as well, because just as like you said, a special request from one customer is going to be one amongst a long list of special requests from all the other key account managers to the same department. So essentially, if I hear you correct, your ability to use communication to internally influence your internal stakeholders to help you achieve your objectives along with theirs is key for a key account manager.
Of course. And there are a lot of examples. As you said, it's not only field sales, but you have to convince all other departments. For example, also logistics. If you have the idea and you agree together with your customer to launch a product, it's a very good idea. And we all know that if you launch a new product, it can also be a growth for the market. But if we don't achieve sufficient volume for logistics to produce, you know that it will not be possible to implement this great idea in the market. So it's very important to have a good communication, before to agree things, to be sure also that all departments has agreed also with your idea, and just to be able to implement correctly and to have a good implementation also in the market.
Mirko, so now you've told us a little bit more about the key account managers and what they should be doing, and you talked about their strategic vision, the fact that they should be entrepreneurs within an organization, of course, and then the importance of internal influencing and communication. Now, the most difficult part, talking to your customers. Tell us a little bit more about how do you work with your customers? How does a negotiation process look like? What's the timeline?
With our customers, we work in a continuous process. Yeah. So there is no formal timeline, but what is important for us is together with our customer to make sure that we grow profitably the category. See, this is our first objective that we set together. And we can make action plans from our side, Coca Cola, but it's important to make the action plans together with our customers. So it's not us that we make the action plans only with and then we sell it to the customer, but we listen first to our customer, what are their needs, what are their objective, long-term perspective also, to make sure that on the short term we are aligning and matching their strategy with our strategy. And that's how we make sure that we identify together what are the growth pillars on the long term and on the short term for next year, where we will make the difference to grow the category on the next year. Yeah. So there are two principles. First, listen to our customers and identify together what are the growth pillars where we work together. And second principle for me is to agree on a concrete action plan and the investment needed. And it's maybe on the second part, which is the last part of all this process, where we will start negotiating to formalize all concretely on a contract then these growth pillars with the investment also needed that we agreed together.
And typically this formal part of the negotiation, what are the time frames? Does it start in the beginning of the year or maybe towards the end of the year? And I'm assuming, because you're talking of long term, this formal negotiation is for a foreseeable future, that is probably a 1 year timeline from the point of discussion.
Yes. So we agreed first on the growth pillars.
Yeah.
Afterwards, we discussed about the investment needed, and this is the formal part, which is typically starting somewhere in October, let's say. But what is most important is, as we are in this process with the continuous process, the negotiation should be, and this is what we're aiming for, very efficient. Yeah. So we don't lose time taking 2, 3, 4 months negotiation. That's not the objective. The objective is that as we agree together on what are the objectives, it's very efficient to negotiate because we already agreed what are the growth pillars, and it's a formalization of the agreed growth pillars in the contract that took place somewhere between October, November, and let's say December, end of the year, just to start the year the most efficiency with agreed action plans to be implemented.
And so when you have this negotiation or these moments when you go, in order for you to prepare for these moments, so do you have internal meetings before? So is that when you have your meetings with marketing and brand managers to help you prepare for these meetings with the customers?
Typically, we prepare these meetings every quarter, let's say at least for business reviews, where we do regular business reviews with our customers, just to make sure that the projects that we implemented are achieving the objective also and the expected result that we wanted to have. But in more formal way, we also have in a period during June and September the brand activation plans or the annual business plans also that we have for the next year that are presented during this period internally also.
In our earlier conversation when we were off not recording, you mentioned something about joint business planning. Can you tell our audience a little bit more about what joint business planning is?
The joint business planning, in fact, is just the matching, as I already said, about the strategy of the customer with our strategy. So this means that we first sit together, and we start with the top management level. So the CEO of our customer with also our country director, for example, and we are just aligning on our long-term strategy. Afterwards, when we align on this, we also sit with all the departments included. This goes from not only buying, but also marketing department, category management department of our customers. You can go to logistics, but also digital, for example, which is also an important part in the present situation of the market, let's say. And we agreed on what we want to do together on the next year. So this is the joint business planning. And afterwards, when we identify these growth pillars, we identify a timeline for each project that we want to implement.
Oh, so essentially it is quite a long process, and you really need a person with a vision about how to do this and everything else.
Of course, so the key account manager is at the center of this process. He organizes all this process together with all the departments to make sure that the projects are in a good, are ongoing, let's say, and will be correctly implemented. And of course, this is a continuous process. It's a never-ending story, because when we start a project, there is also the learnings that we have to analyze, and in function of the results, we also take corrective actions. We change maybe a little bit the objective of the project, and this is an evolving project, an evolving process that is continuous.
Mirko, I think you've given us some very nice insights into how a key account manager is supposed to be doing a lot of things at the same time and working together with different people, not just in the customer's organization, but also in your own organization. Now, talking about customers, what is your experience about dealing with tough and difficult customers?
According to me and my experience, I cannot say there are tough or easy customers. All the customers are different needs, and the big challenge for us as key account also is to understand what are the needs of the customers. A customer becomes tough if you don't understand it very well what their needs, or if you want to force your action plan or your objective that is not matching with his objective. So how do you deal with tough customers? To answer this question, I will say we just have to do a step back and understand and listening. Open your ears just to be sure that you understand what are their expectations and how can you match do this match between their needs and our needs, just to make growth together with the customer.
So essentially, if what you're saying is that you have to listen, so what are the tips that you have that you would like to share, not just with our young audience, but also probably that you share with your team, because if you manage a team of key accounts, you have to coach them as well. What are the things that they should be looking for when they go into a negotiation or when they go into a customer? What are the things they should be paying attention to?
I think first, as I already said, listen and understand the needs with an active listening, just to be sure that you understand, and repeating just to be sure that it's not only what you think he said, but you have to be sure that you understand what he said, he or she, obviously. Second things is to be able to balance the duality between, let's say, flexibility and openness, but also assertivity, and be sure that your message is also understood correctly. So it's both sides that are important. It's also to be able to analyze figures, to be really factual when you discuss about something and not too much emotional. But at the same time, to be also a creative person who can find creative solution adapted to your client. And at the last point, I would say it's also important to realize that all the customers are different. Different needs. You don't deal with, let's say, hypermarkets in the same way that you deal with proximity stores. So you have to be sure that you adapt your action plan in function of these needs. And one size doesn't fit all, I will say. That's very important to remember.
So if I hear some words that our students should know by now, it's listen, be assertive, and make sure that all the needs of the customers are going to be different depending upon their situation, and your ability to understand all this and do all this and then come up with creative proposals are some of the best ways in order to prepare for a negotiation with a customer.
That's it. Good.
So Mirko, we've talked a lot about your vision on what should be a key account manager. I'm assuming your vision is also the vision of Coca Cola as well, about what is the role of a key account manager, what should they be doing, how should they be dealing with customers. But now the more practical question regarding how is the key account organization structured? How many people do you have? How are they supported? What are some challenges that you see coming in the future that will influence the key account structure?
So the key account manager within Coca Cola Enterprises is at the center of the organizations. We are a team of 9 national and account managers for the home market, and for the out of home market we have a team of more than 22, 25 key account managers. So just to talk about this team, they are the center of organization because also they have to cope with all the aspects of the relation with our customers. So we are organized in customer teams. In customer teams where we include all the aspects like supply chain, finance, operational marketing, but also field sales, for example. And in the present economic environment, we are also more and more including new aspects that are also very important. It's for example digital, and this is one of the challenges that are facing our team today. It's also to include the digital evolution. How do we anticipate the evolution of the digital in the future, in fact, and how can we ensure that we will activate our brands in the new technologies environment, in the new digital world. This is a new challenge that we are facing, and that we also including more and more in the customer teams and in the relation with our customers. For example, also health and well-being. It's also another concern that is also very important to cope with our customers, and also the key account manager has to centralize also these projects with our customers. It's very important also how can we with our product promote movement, how can we offer choice to our shoppers through our customers, for example, and also how can we communicate on the energy and on the how can we communicate also on the number of calories, for example, that are on our products and so on. So it's very important that we take all these aspects into consideration to collaborate with our customers. And again, as I already said, the key account manager is at the center of all these projects to coordinate everything.
Wow, so it sounds like a big challenge for key account managers to not just deal with their own internal structure, but also with the deal with the customer, and then what's happening in the environment, what's happening digital. Because I think what you also probably is a challenge they face is not digital evolution for your own organization, but also for the retailers and for your customers, who in some cases you will have to take them along with you because they might not be ready and they're looking at Coca Cola to offer them possible solutions.
Of course. So what we are doing with them is also trying to find solutions in the path to purchase, because when we are speaking about digital, it's not only the e-commerce, but it's also how can we activate through the digital shopper marketing, for example, through networks, social networks, through shopping lists also, like we did with some customers, just that we can activate also our brands also in the digital world. People are spending more and more time, on websites, on the different social networks, and we know that there is an opportunity there together with our customers to activate also buying acts also through this media.
Mirko, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us and our students.
Thank you, Deva.
And I would certainly do hope that we'll have a chance to run into each other in the future.
Thank you very much.